I want you to stop whatever you are doing right now and really think about this question because most football fans have never actually sat down and confronted the honest answer. How many countries have won the FIFA World Cup? Not how many have come close. Not how many have reached the final. How many have actually lifted that trophy, felt its weight in their hands, and been crowned the best team on the entire planet? Go on, count them. The answer, after 93 years of football, after 22 editions of the most watched sporting event in human history, after billions of dollars spent, after thousands of the most talented athletes on the planet competing at the highest level, the answer is 8. Just 8 countries: Brazil, Germany, Italy, Argentina, France, Uruguay, England, and Spain. That is the entire list. Out of the 211 nations affiliated to FIFA, only 8 have ever won the World Cup. And yet, right now, in 2026, with the biggest World Cup in history about to kick off across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, football fans everywhere are convinced, absolutely certain, that this is the year everything changes. This is the year a new name gets added to that list. This is the year that Morocco or Japan or the Netherlands or the United States or Senegal finally breaks through and changes football history forever. And that, my friend, is the biggest lie that football fans tell themselves every single World Cup cycle. Today, we are going to break it apart completely and tell you the truth that nobody else in this space has the guts to say out loud. Stay with me, because this video is going to change the way you watch FIFA 2026. The lie is this: that FIFA 2026 is fundamentally different. That the expansion to 48 teams, the new format, the 3 host nations, the new generation of players from new footballing regions, that all of this somehow means the trophy is genuinely up for grabs in a way it never has been before. You hear it everywhere. You see it in the headlines. You feel it in the energy around this tournament. Fans of Morocco talk about 2022 as proof that they can go all the way. Fans of Japan point to their group stage result against Germany 4 years ago and say their time has come. American fans, buzzing with home tournament excitement, genuinely believe that Mauricio Pochettino's USMNT squad can win this thing on home soil. And the media feeds all of it because drama sells, because hope sells, because the idea that anything can happen is what keeps billions of people glued to their screens for 6 weeks every 4 years. But here is what the data, the history, and the cold mathematics of elite international football actually tell us. And it is not what you want to hear. The World Cup has been played 22 times. On every single occasion, the winner has come from either Europe or South America. Not once in 93 years has a team from Africa, Asia, North America, Central America, or any other confederation lifted that trophy. The champions have always come from the same small group of nations that have been breeding elite footballers, building elite football cultures, investing in elite football infrastructure for generations. And FIFA 2026, for all its new size and spectacle and excitement, does nothing to change those fundamental structural realities overnight. It is important to understand why intelligent, passionate, knowledgeable football fans fall for this lie every 4 years, because it is not stupidity that makes them believe it. It is psychology and it is emotion. And both of those things are completely understandable. The first reason is recency bias. After the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, where Morocco became the first African nation to reach the semi-finals, the story of expanding football power became irresistible. Achraf Hakimi, Hakim Ziyech, Youssef En-Nesyri, these were world-class players performing at the highest level and beating European giants along the way. Portugal fell, Spain fell, Belgium fell, and for a glorious few weeks, the idea that the World Cup trophy might genuinely leave Europe or South America felt more real than it ever had before. But Morocco lost in the semi-final to France, then lost the third-place playoff to Croatia, and the 8-nation monopoly on the trophy remained completely intact. Recency bias took a moment of extraordinary progress and turned it into a prophecy of imminent revolution, and that prophecy has carried directly into 2026. The second reason fans believe the lie is the expansion itself. Going from 32 to 48 teams feels like a democratization of the tournament. It feels like FIFA opening the door wider, giving more nations more opportunities, making the competition more open. And in a surface level, emotional sense, that is true. More teams do get to participate, more stories get to be told, more upsets can technically happen. But here is the brutal reality of what the expansion actually does when you look at the data. It does not make the later rounds more open. It makes them less open, because the elite nations now get an even easier path through the group stage against weaker opposition, meaning they arrive at the knockout rounds fresher, more confident, with more momentum, and having barely been tested. The Opta supercomputer ran simulations across thousands of possible tournament scenarios, and their model shows Spain, the current world number 1, as the only team rated as more likely than not to reach the quarterfinals. Just one team out of 48 has better than a 50% chance of making the last 8. The rest of the field is chaos in the model, but the chaos is concentrated in the earlier rounds. By the time you reach the semifinals, the same names are sitting there that have always sat there. The expansion does not level the playing field at the top of the tournament. It just adds more cannon fodder at the bottom. Let us talk about the 8 nations that have won the World Cup, because understanding why only these 8 have ever lifted the trophy is the key to understanding why FIFA 2026 will almost certainly add no new name to that list. Brazil have won 5 times in 1958, 1962, 1970, 1994, and 2002. Germany, counting both West Germany and reunified Germany, have won 4 times in 1954, 1974, 1990, and 2014. Italy have won 4 times in 1934, 1938, 1982, and 2006. Argentina have won 3 times in 1978, 1986, and 2022. France have won twice in 1998 and 2018. Uruguay have won twice in 1930 and 1950. England have won once in 1966. Spain have won once in 2010. Every single one of these victories came from a nation with decades of elite football infrastructure, world-class domestic leagues breeding top-level talent week after week, a footballing culture embedded so deeply into the national identity that generation after generation of children grow up not just playing football, but obsessing over every technical detail of how to play it better. You cannot manufacture that in a decade. You cannot copy-paste a football culture. The nations that have won World Cups have not won them because they got lucky, or because the draw was kind, or because the format suited them. They have won them because their entire footballing ecosystems, from the youth academies to the top flight leagues to the national team setup to the coaching infrastructure to the financial investment, are operating at a level that takes generations to build and is nearly impossible for newer footballing nations to replicate overnight. Morocco's run to the semifinals in 2022 was genuinely historic and represents real progress in African football. But Morocco still lost. Japan's victories over Germany in the group stage in Qatar were extraordinary upsets that showed the world the quality of Asian football. But Japan still went out in the round of 16. The gaps are closing at the edges, in the group stage, in the early knockout rounds. But at the very top of the tournament, in the semifinals and the final, the same nations keep showing up because the gap at that level is still enormous. So, what does the realistic picture at the top of FIFA 2026 actually look like, stripped of the hype and the hope and the media narrative? Spain arrive as the current FIFA world number 1, a team built around a generation of technically exceptional players who were forged in the La Liga system, the best passing league in the world, and who are coached with the kind of tactical intelligence and collective discipline that takes years to develop. They are the bookmakers' favorites, and for very good reason. France, despite the injury concerns around Lamine Yamal that have dominated the headlines in recent weeks, still carry the deepest squad at the tournament. Kylian Mbappe, playing in the biggest tournament of his life, arrives hungry, motivated, and with something to prove after the heartbreak of the 2022 final defeat. Argentina, the defending champions, are built around the greatest player in the history of the game in Lionel Messi, a man for whom this tournament represents the final act of the most remarkable career in football history. England, under the guidance of their current setup, have a squad full of Premier League talent and are arguably better equipped to win a World Cup right now than at any point since 1966. Brazil, under Carlo Ancelotti, are coming into the tournament with renewed motivation and a point to prove after the disappointment of recent cycles. Germany, even in what is described as a transitional era, still carry 4 World Cup titles worth of winning culture in their DNA. These are the teams that the data, the history, the odds, and the football intelligence all point toward competing for the final. Not because fans of other nations are wrong to believe in their teams, but because the structural realities of world football have not changed enough in the last 4 years to justify a fundamentally different outcome at the very top of the tournament. Now here is the part where I have to be completely honest with you, because this channel is built on telling you the truth, and the truth about football is never entirely simple. There is one reason, one genuine, legitimate, statistically supported reason, why this year might genuinely be different, and it is not what most fans expect. Football, more than any other major team sport, is unpredictable in a way that the numbers actually confirm rather than deny. Because goals are rare compared to points in basketball or runs in cricket, the margin between winning and losing in football is extraordinarily thin. A single moment of individual brilliance, a single defensive error, a penalty kick that bounces off the post rather than into the net. These micro-events can completely overturn the expected outcome of even the most lopsided matches. The 2026 World Cup also introduces the biggest format change in tournament history, with a new round of 32 following the group stage and the 8 best third-place finishers advancing from their groups. This creates more matches, more opportunities for chaos, more potential for an elite team to have one bad night against a fired-up underdog and pay the ultimate price for it. The expanded format, paradoxically, does increase the chance of a major upset in the knockout rounds. Not because weaker teams have become stronger, but because more matches means more dice rolls, and the more dice you roll, the more chance you have of rolling a number nobody predicted. But here is the thing. Even if an upset happens, even if Morocco or Japan or the United States beats France or Argentina in the knockout rounds, the trophy will almost certainly still end up with one of the 8 familiar names unless a genuine cascade of upsets occurs simultaneously across multiple rounds. And history tells us, despite all the unpredictability of individual matches, that cascade almost never happens. So the biggest lie football fans believe about FIFA 2026 is not that their team cannot win. Every team in the tournament has some mathematical chance of going all the way. The biggest lie is the belief that the structural foundations of world football have shifted enough to make a genuinely new World Cup winner likely rather than merely possible. After 93 years and 22 editions of the World Cup, 8 nations own every single trophy ever awarded. 7 of those 8 nations, Brazil, France, Argentina, England, Germany, Spain, and Uruguay, are all at FIFA 2026. The history of this tournament is not random. It is not chaos. It is the consistent, repeating expression of decades of footballing investment, culture, and infrastructure producing the same result over and over again at the very highest level. That does not make FIFA 2026 any less exciting. If anything, it makes it more exciting because when you understand exactly how hard it is to break that pattern, you appreciate what Morocco came so close to doing in 2022 and what Japan and Senegal and the United States might come close to doing this summer. The upset that never quite happens is sometimes the most compelling story in sport. And the day it does happen, the day a new name finally gets added to that list, it will be the single greatest moment in the history of the FIFA World Cup. Watch this tournament with eyes wide open. Understand the history, respect the patterns, and then sit back and enjoy every single second of what is about to unfold. Because whether the script gets followed or broken, FIFA 2026 is going to be something none of us ever forget. Subscribe to the channel right now. We cover this tournament every single day, every angle, every story, every upset. Drop a comment below. Which team do you think will be the one to finally break the cycle? And share this video with a fan who needs to hear the truth before the tournament kicks off. See you in the next one.